Hi, welcome to Talk to the Hand. It's Lynn here from the Learn English Network. Does what it says on the label. And this is Talk to the Hand session where we talk about lots of different things really. But it's a video sharing session today, guys. So we're going to be using My Circle TV. I'll give you the link in a moment. First, I want to put Nina on the spot because today we're going to link a little bit in with what we've just been talking about in Kitely, but of course Eleanor and Marco Tenicum weren't in Kitely today. So Nina, can you tell them what we were discussing? Ooh, that's so mean of me, I know.
We're discussing something about the brain and its reaction. Yeah.
It was
about
the brain.
The brain.
Pinky and the brain. My favourite cartoon. But we talked about, at the end, how alcohol can affect the brain, and we will be reading about that next week. But I thought for today I found a very interesting little TED Talk, and I love TED Talks because it means I can actually share the sound and share the video without getting into trouble. Which is always nice. But this isn't about how your brain reacts to alcohol. It's how your brain reacts, and Tenicum, you'll like this one, how your brain reacts to video games. So what sort of things do you think might crop up? How your brain reacts when you're playing video games?
You exercise your reaction speed, I think, reflex.
Good. Yeah, reflexes, reactions, speed. Yeah. Any other thoughts?
We can have addictive effect.
Yeah,
Good
addiction.
No?
Yeah.
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 But I have had that criticism of video games is exaggerated, and in fact, children it's beneficial to children, but I'm not a fan of them. I really have no opinion, but it may be true. Why not?
Okay.
Perhaps, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of research going into this because, of course, it's impacting on our lives more and more. Computers are being used in more and more ways, and games are being.
Exactly.
If you might have heard of gamification, the education industry is very interested in. We were talking about how learning when you're having fun is easier, so they're looking at how to gamify, if you like, learning so that it's more fun rather than, sorry to say this, Eleanor, rather than the dusty old books that I know you enjoy. But not all kids do. What about you, Shiny? Any thoughts on brains and video games?
But I think video games help children to concentrate.
Okay, concentration. Yeah. I mean, certainly when you watch them playing, they're really in there, aren't they? They have immersed themselves completely into the game sometimes. Very true. Good one. What about you, Marco?
Is nervousness belongs to it? Does nervousness belong to it?
Are you worried about your shield?
Yeah, if someone ruins my troops or the other, I don't feel happy with it. Yes, and maybe sometimes
Fear.
this disappoint. No, not fear, but disappoint. Then think about revenge.
Yeah, disappointment. Basically, emotions.
And here is like how to revenge myself. Strategy.
Shiny. Interesting. You bought a Nintendo, and Nintendo is a company, so capitalized. A Nintendo Switch. Have you played anything on it? Have you bought any games for it?
No, because it's new, so the software is not so. It only has how to say
There's limited software, yeah.
yes, yes, and it's very hard to find buy a Switch. You know that?
I didn't know. I haven't actually. I had a Nintendo Wii, but I gave that to my niece because she's got little ones now, and she also wanted to get fit after having a baby, so I gave it to her because it had a fitness board and everything. And I go to the gym now because I'm more motivated to go to the gym than to bounce up and down on a fitness board in my living room. I decided, so I gave it away, and so I have got an Xbox somewhere, Xbox 360. I don't really use that either, but I'm not a gamer, believe it or not. Marco might not agree with me because he knows how late I was online last night playing, but I'm not a gamer. I'm not. Hubby is. He's got a PS4. Ooh, sexy beast. But yes, there are different kinds of video games out there. That's the thing. There are different kinds of computer games out there. They're not all the same. And I think there's one for everybody. And I think personally, I don't know. I know, Eleanor, you said you're not really that interested in them, but I think they can be used very effectively. And I think we're going to be more affected by them with immersive technology, where we've got this augmented reality. Yeah.
I have listened to quite a lot of talks about it in Second Life during SL conferences. So of course I do agree. It just not exactly my generation. I would see just a little bit.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm surprised to how much I enjoy the game I'm playing at the moment. Don't know how long it will last, but at the moment I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Augmented reality might mean that eventually Marco and I will be fighting side by side as clan brothers in a virtual space. But I think if it ever gets that real, I'll probably not want to do the fighting. There's one thing about clicking a button and killing things. There's another thing about actually using your muscles and actually seeing something die in front of you, even if it's not real. I don't know if I'd be comfortable with that. Anyway, we're going to watch this video. If I can share the link with you. Somebody much more qualified on the topic than me, Daphne Bavelier, and she's actually looked into this in more detail than I ever could. Okay, so I'll wait for you all to join me in there. Don't forget you can change your name so I know who you are, but we will use chat here, so I better keep that open a little bit actually. Let me just...
Sorry, Lynn, just to follow this link and we will be replacing.
In theory, yes. In theory, it's all theoretical. Oh, haven't you used My Circle yet, Marco?
No.
Okay,
this is my first time.
this is what YouTube used to allow us to do in Google Hangouts, but we use My Circle TV because it plays for everybody. But we'll use local chat here. So chat here, but we'll watch the video in My Circle. Okay, lost it. So let me see, everybody in? Yep, we've got all 5 of you in. That's good. You should be able to see my name as Lynn Hand, yeah. And you're all in as Gis. Oh no, well done, Nina. Nina has managed to change her name. Awesome. Okay. Now we've got the text as well, which is why I love TED Talks. So what I'll do is I will post up the actual transcription. and we'll watch it bit by bit to start with, because it is quite a long video. We might not finish it today. Okay, but we'll watch bits and then we'll talk about bits, okay? Okay, everybody ready? Okay, thanks, Nina. I can hear somebody clicking away. I hope everybody's okay. Oh, well done. Who's Piggy? Okay, let's start.
I'm a brain scientist, and as a brain scientist, I'm actually interested in how the brain learns. And I'm especially interested in the possibility of making our brains smarter, better, and faster.
Okay, so nice little bits of comparatives there. Smarter, better, faster.
Yeah, it's wonderful, something for me, but it's also funny because I can see subtitles in Polish, so it's extremely
Awesome!
kind of you.
That is
Yeah.
very kind, isn't it? I didn't know it would do that. It's not giving me German. Oh, that's great. TED Talks are fantastic. I mean, I really recommend them. And you'll find the transcripts are really, usually very good, which is nice for me because it means I don't have to keep checking them and altering them and trying to figure out what the heck the person's actually saying, as opposed to what Google thinks the person is saying. Okay, so are all of you interested in the possibility of making our brains smarter, better, faster? Or are you happy with the way your brain is?
I'm not happy. I think my brain is slower and slower, in particular when I try to solve the problems in physics.
Oh my goodness, you're doing physics now. Oh, no wonder.
Yeah,
Well, you're doing all the right things
it
to
was.
keep your brain active. But we were talking about this today. We were looking, and one of the
Overworked,
facts is,
overtrained,
well, one of the facts
suffering.
is our brains slow down as we age, I'm afraid.
Yeah, they do.
They do, they do. Okay, let's carry on. See if she's got any answers for us. Okay, well, we might have the answer for you, Eleanor, but it might mean you doing something that you've already admitted you don't really relish doing.
I haven't
Just
got
in
it.
this
What?
Let's
Sorry.
find out.
context, I'm going to tell you about video games. When we say video game, most of you think about children. It's true. 90% of children do play video games. But let's be frank. When the kids are in bed, who is in front of the PlayStation? Most of you. The average age of a gamer is 33 years old, not 8 years old. And in fact, if we look at the projected demographics of video game play, the video game players of tomorrow are older adults.
Yay, it's me, look at that. It's me and Dave.
I see. So I should play more. Or yeah,
Wow, there you
play it
go.
on.
It's something to think about. It's something to think about. Marco, yes, I can see that you changed your name. Well done. It won't stay, and sadly it won't stay, but you know how to do it now, so the next time you'll be able to. And it's true, a lot of people think, oh, these young people locked in their bedrooms, playing video games, the typical image you have of a gamer, but they're not. Gamers are mostly adults. I mean, kids can't afford the price of most of the games out there. They're expensive.
But you know, I'm not surprised. I remember one of our German tutors liked video games very much. She was a sort of expert.
Shiny.
Her name was Kat.
Yeah, and Shiny's just got a good point. Shiny, take the mic.
Because I think children play better than adults because they learn so fast and
Yeah.
they accept new things.
Yeah, I think the accepting new things as well, and not overthinking things, children. You know, click a button, they'll click it. Adult, click a button. Why? What will happen if I click it? I think that's very true. Very true. Okay, so let's carry on. Bear with me a second. I know we've got the text as well, but as you've just told me, it's in Polish for you, Eleanor. I thought I'd put the English up. Okay. Okay, let's carry on.
So video games is pervasive throughout our society. It is clearly here to stay. It has an amazing impact on our everyday life. Consider these statistics released by Activision. After 1 month of release of the game Call of Duty Black Ops, it had been played for 68,000 years worldwide, right? Would any of you complain if this was a case about doing linear algebra?
Okay, so that to me, anybody surprised by that actual statistic? Oh, you've got lag. Okay, yeah, it can happen.
I'm not.
68,000 years. So we're talking about man hours there. I don't know if any of you have ever done any project management, but often people talk
No,
about
I haven't.
man hours. Okay, how long will the project take? Well, from beginning to end, a year. So you start on January the 1st and you finish on December 31st. It's taken a year. But within that year you have man hours, depending on how many people worked on the project for how many hours. So in total it could have taken 10 years in man hours. And that's what they're looking at this 68,000 years worldwide. The number of people playing it, the length of time they had played it, it added up to 68,000 years. Amazing. I was really like, what? Because it puts it into perspective using man hours rather than it was released 10 months ago, we've sold so many copies. How many people are actually playing it? Any questions? Any observations?
But now I would prefer linear algebra after all.
There you go. It's, different strokes for different folks. Pervasive. Yes, well done, Shiny. If something is pervasive, it's everywhere. So televisions became pervasive over time. I don't know, cars as well. Once upon a time, 1 in 2,000 people might have had a car. Now it's about 1 in every 5 person adult has a car. Okay. Oh, who's knocking? Let's see. They might not get in, depending on who they are. Oh, go on then. It's Monique. We'll let her in. She's probably only just woken up and hasn't had her breakfast yet, but we'll let her in. I better give her the link, hadn't I? Oh, where's the link? Hi, Monique. Good morning.
Hello.
Sleepyhead.
Good morning, everybody.
Okay, you've missed a little bit, but I've just put the link
Yeah,
up.
I know.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you join us, don't worry about what it says on the screen. Linear algebra. We're not discussing linear algebra, although I'm sure Eleanor would love to. We're actually looking at how video games affect the brain. I wonder if they'll look at Pokemon. Monique, are you still playing Pokemon?
No.
No. Okay.
I remember we have watched a funny video about Pokemon
Yeah.
and this strange places where you can find one in churches and so on.
That's right, yeah. I mean, it's still going. People are still playing it, but not as many as began.
Mhm.
Okay, let me know when you're in, Monique, and settled, and then we'll carry on.
Hold on.
Okay.
In 5, 4, 3.
Okay, I can see you in, I think.
Okay.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean.
Awesome. There is a little bit of lag, so just let me know. Just type Y in here when you've seen up to that bit, okay? And we can all keep on the same page.
So what we're asking in the lab is how can we leverage that power? Now I want to step back a bit. I know most of you have had experience of coming back home and finding your kids playing these kind of games. The name of the game is to get after your enemy, zombie, bad guys before they get to you, right? And I'm almost sure most of you have thought, oh, come on, can't you do something more intelligent than shooting at zombies?
Don't tell Aladdin.
And in yeah,
Exactly.
I know. I remember we played in Second Life, but
Yeah.
I always missed them. And I think Aladdin was there, and he was amazing.
Yeah, he's a gamer. Fast reactions. I was terrible. I can remember we were meant to collect
No
corn.
zombies,
Yeah, I just kept. Your son plays
no
that game,
zombies
Nina.
fell.
Yeah. Okay, Nina, that's interesting. What do you think when your son's playing that game? Do you think, oh, come on, do something, go outside and play, do your homework?
I'm not good person for say it uh, for him because I am playing in the past, so
Ah,
I
okay.
can't, you know. But I just sitting beside him and oh, it's good, good. Mom, come here, oh God. So I react good about that.
Okay, cool.
You
You're a
know,
cool mum. You're a cool mum.
yeah.
Okay, Telecom, you wouldn't say have you said him the same. Have you said the same to him? So, have you said the same to him? Okay? You could say, have you told him? There's a difference between to say and to tell. Have you told him the same? Actually, you wouldn't say tell something the same thing. Have you told him about the game? Did you teach him how to play, Nina? Or did he teach himself?
Sorry.
Did you teach him how to play? Do you ever give him tips on how to play?
You said you mean if I teach him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, not at all. I just teach him about daughter, but I played daughter, and he played daughter too.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
different.
I've heard of the game.
So nowadays, no.
Yeah, I've heard of that game, but I've
He,
never actually played it. But yeah, Dota. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
but he learned himself.
Okay. Good. Well, I wonder what he's learning. So let's have a look. Okay, let's carry on.
I'd like you to put this kind of knee-jerk reaction in the context of what you would have thought if you had found your girl playing Sudoku or your boy reading Shakespeare, right? Most parents would find that great. Well, I'm not going to tell you that playing video games days in and days out is actually good for your health. It's not, and binging is never good. But I'm going to argue that in reasonable doses, actually the very game I showed you at the beginning, those action-packed shooter games, have quite powerful effects and positive effects on many different aspects of our behavior.
Okay, so do you understand by what she said when she says the knee-jerk reaction?
Is it
You
like
can
because
have a good. Oh, sorry.
It's okay, Tenicum, you were first.
no. Sorry, Nina, go on. I have problem with my throat. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. Then Nina, save Marco's voice for him.
Thank you, Marco. I think it's when you can't have bad reactions, like the Call of Duty. You can follow me, die. So you can have a good or not reaction, and you forget to drink, to eat something, and you have a huge emotions. I think it's no good for you because your body feel like in your real life. I don't know, is it?
Well, it actually comes from going to the doctor. If you have your reflexes tested at the doctor, it sort of loses a little hammer on your knee, and your foot kicks out. Yeah, your leg kicks out. You can't help it. You have that little hammer. That's right. I'm sure it's probably got a name, a special name, but I have no idea what it is. But it's a little hammer, and your leg kicks out. There's nothing you can. Well, hopefully your leg kicks out, because if it doesn't, you've got nerve damage somewhere, and that's serious. So hopefully your leg kicks out. You have no control over it. And a knee-jerk reaction means you react without thinking. It's a little bit, we were talking about gut feeling earlier, where you don't know why you feel that way. But a knee-jerk reaction is like an instantaneous, you see a jar of Marmite and you go, ugh! You don't think about it, you react immediately. Automatic, yeah, exactly. What do you mean you can hurt them, Tenicum? Who are you hurting with a little hammer?
No, you can hurt the doctor if he.
Oh, if he's standing in the way. Well, hopefully he knows not to stand in the yeah.
Especially if you're a football player.
Yeah, kick him into
or a kickboxer.
Boing. Very good point. I'm sure doctors are trained to step to one side when they do that. I hope they are anyway. Okay. And then it talks about binging. Now, we've talked about binging before, but usually in the context of alcohol or food. But you can binge on games. You can, binge watching, exactly, binge watching when you have the box set and you watch every single episode of Game of Thrones in one night. That's binge watching. So overdoing it.
Spending binge.
Binge spending, yes.
Spending binge.
Yeah. That's right. We
go
on a spending binge.
Yeah, I have it in my notes.
Oh, your notes.
Yeah.
But yeah, spending binge, splashing the cash, flashing the plastic. Yeah, that word binge is used in a lot of contexts. And binge playing, some people do take it a bit too far. The whole night till the early hours of the morning. It's not good for you. I don't think any binging is good for you. I agree with her there. Okay.
I think when you have a automatic reaction, I think it can be dangerous, because where are you?
Yeah,
Because
but it can
the game,
also save your life. It can save your life. We've developed these reactions. So if somebody beeps a car horn, we know.
You put you put you in your warm example,
Yep.
the Call of Duty.
You
Your reaction all the time in the stress.
Ah.
I'm in a war now. I need to kill someone.
Yep.
So what? It's yeah. You understand?
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
got you there.
it's
Yeah,
really dangerous.
within the game, that kind of reaction. But sometimes a knee-jerk reaction can save your life. You know, you're about to cross the road, somebody beeps a horn, you don't think, you step back. Yeah, that's a knee-jerk reaction too. So, yeah, it's about.
But not too much.
Exactly. Well, yeah, I don't play Call of Duty. I don't play what's that other one? The horrible one where they're all stealing cars and everything. I don't play those games, to be honest, and because I think I'd be a nervous wreck by the end. I'm more of a Sega. Yeah, I'm more of a Sega girl myself. Yeah. You still have to be able to react
have
quickly,
a huge
though.
emotions.
Yeah, it can have an emotional impact. Yes, a huge emotional
really,
impact.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, let's carry on.
Yeah.
Because I think she takes this into account as well.
There's not 1 week that goes without some major headlines in the media about whether video games are good or bad for you, right? You're all bombarded with that. I'd like to put this kind of Friday night bar discussion aside and get you to actually step into the lab. What we do in the lab is actually measure directly in a quantitative fashion what is the impact of video games on the brain. And so I'm going to take a few examples from our work. One first.
Okay, so they're taking a very scientific look at this. Okay, because I don't know, have any of you ever read anything in the press about video games and how dangerous they are and how bad they are?
Just,
Oh, she's not a native speaker, Tenicum, no.
just the headlines.
Yeah.
You know, like, no, it's not good. Yeah, or something like that.
Yeah. Sometimes it's linked with obesity. You know, children are getting fat because they're not getting enough exercise. Sometimes it's linked with they're too tired when they go to school. But it's generally, I don't see many headlines that say, yay, new video game, fantastic. Yes, you can hear sometimes when she said measure, for example. She said mesure. It's more, I think she's French actually, but I'm not 100% certain. Don't quote me on that. Daphne Bavelier, it's a very French sounding name, isn't it?
But what does it mean in a measure directly in a quantitative fashion? How they measured it? What is?
Well,
I know
you've
what
got
is.
two ways of measuring things: qualitative and quantitative. And if you look at the beginning, quantitative.
Oh, once upon a time.
So you've got qualitative, quality, quantitative, quantity. Means measurable. A quantitative fashion is a measurable way. Qualitative is very difficult to measure quality because quality can be down to personal taste. You know, what do you think of Marmite? Well, if you ask Zom, she's going to go, it's disgusting. But if you ask the millions of people who love it, that's a quality choice. That's a personal choice. The quantitative measurement would be how many jars of Marmite did they sell last year? That would measure how popular it is, rather than asking people if they like it or not. Okay?
But it could also be measured.
If it
quality.
can be measured, yeah, if it can be measured, it's quantitative. You put a number to it. Okay?
Ah, okay.
Quantity surveyors. They are, that's an actual job title, a quantity surveyor. They value buildings by looking at the building, looking at the materials that go into the building, looking at the man hours that go into the building, and they come up with a spurious price for the building. Okay? Any other questions?
Lynn, I think when you expose your brain in violent video game, you can be violent too. Yeah.
Yeah, this is something
Disagreed.
you might read.
No.
Yeah, this
Hold
is
on.
something you might read. I think
I
most...
think that
Go on, Monique, go on.
sorry. No, because I think it's a bit extreme to say that, because I sometimes I've had my gamer moments, and but I'm tend just to be away from that because I really love it. So it's a bit dangerous, but I think if you measure that sort of thing, it's not a bad thing, Actually, I agree with her because it could be good for your brain, even for and most even more for children. So I think I don't know. It depends on. It's not only about a video game. It could be many other things just around that person that could be just trigger that behavior. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there have
Because
been thoughts about, did that game make that person go out and commit that crime, do that
Yeah.
murder? But really, I think if that were the case, we would be seeing a lot more death and destruction on the streets. However, that some people might be affected, it triggers something, or they were going to do it anyway and it gives them ideas of how to do it. I think that can happen, but they would probably have done something anyway. Whether it can create psychotics or it just, the psychotic plays that game because he's attracted to that game and then goes out and emulates what happens in the game, would have probably done something else. But they do make that correlation. But I really think if there was a true correlation, by now we would be seeing death and destruction in the streets at a rate that we couldn't deny, that people are predisposed to be violent after. My husband plays lots of video games, and honestly, he's never felt like going out with a big knife and stabbing all his neighbours or anything. So
no, okay. I mean, when you expose a lot, not just 1 hour on the weekend.
do you think
But
my husband
when
only
the
plays
base-
for an hour on the weekend? Forget it.
Really?
It's his way of.
But no.
He doesn't watch television. He likes to game, and he plays a lot of time. But he likes to get away from work. Work's more likely to make him go postal.
Yeah, but
Not the video game.
I said no in general. Okay, no in general, but it can put in your mind a neurological and psychiatric disorder.
So can
But
reading a
no in
book.
general. Okay, you can.
So can reading a book. So can watching a TV program. So can reading something in the news. We're learning a bit more about what triggers our brains into these reactions. But copycat killings.
Yeah.
Remember the word copycat? The copycat killer that we were talking about in drama session on Tuesdays. They just read about it, and then it triggers what's already in them, I think. And yes, I do think that some games I wouldn't let my kids play. No way. The Call of Duty, no. What's that one? Grand Theft Auto, not a chance. Just because I don't think young minds should be exposed to such negativity. There's bad enough things happening in real life without them immersing themselves in a game. But something like Prince of Persia, yeah, why not? Go out, shoot the monsters, whatever. Yeah. And yes, Shiny, I think you're right. Triggers different behaviour that's already there. Maybe, as we talked about the trigger effect today as well in the session.
But what if they involve children to act in some I like Game of Thrones, but really okay, when I just started acting there when she was very young and stabbing with the knife and the other stuff. That is more scarier, more scary than the playing the game, because there is they directly involved children in some brutal scenes or the others, to involve little children in some kind of horror movies or something,
Yeah.
to play, to act.
Yeah. I mean,
and also to watch. Like,
yeah. No, no. I mean, I think as well, as I say, anything like that can affect us. We're humans. We are affected by the things we see and hear and touch and feel. Some are more affected, and some have a much better barrier between reality and fiction. I tend to get immersed in stuff, which is why I don't watch horror films. Not because I want to then go out and kill. They just terrify me, and I can't sleep.
I can watch them, but only during the day, not at night. So if you
Really?
want me, okay? Yeah, do you wanna watch the Conjure? Yeah. So I say no, no, no. Okay, during the day, please. Just I need just to forget that all at night. I don't want to think that about it before.
That is hilarious. Okay.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can hide. You can hide.
Exactly. No,
You
you know,
can,
the thing is, if I'm watching a movie at night, I'm sure my husband he'll just he can fall asleep easily. So I'll be just me there watching the movie alone. So no way.
Oh
So I
gosh.
prefer during the day. Yes.
You just need a sharp stick. You can keep poking him awake with it. Wake up! You're meant to protect me.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't even watch them because even in the day, it's not that I get. I mean, I do get scared, and it can be fun to be scared sometimes. But no, it's because 2 weeks later I'll have the most awful night terrors. I'll have the most awful nightmares. It's not worth
Oh.
it, really. It just stays inside my brain, and then it comes out in some kind of screaming nightmare. So I just avoid them. No, it's really bad.
So can you
honestly.
imagine Annabelle just running after you?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Well,
creepy though. Oh
Nina's
my
just
gosh.
written that people who play action games on a regular basis may undergo brain. Well, remember what we were talking about in today's session, Nina? Every time you learn something, your brain changes, your brain reacts. Every single time. New flavour, a new sensation. So, yeah, of course there's going to... Now, whether that affects your long-term mental well-being, we're going to see something really fundamentally change within our lifetime, and that's immersive experiences. Never mind going into Second Life or Open Sim, where you're looking at a video character that is you. You will be that character. It's here already. You can do it on high fidelity, and if you get the right equipment, you can even see your hands now. So you are that character in that environment. Now that will be studied very, very long and hard, how that affects our perception of reality, whether we'll fall into some kind of, I don't know, zombie-like state, and we won't be able to differentiate between where we were and where we are, and what is real and what isn't real. But that's another discussion. That's way too deep for today. How are we doing for time? Okay, we've got time for a little bit more. Okay. We'll probably, as I said, go over this, and we'll carry on next week. But let's carry on here.
Just saying that I'm sure you all have heard is the fact that too much screen time makes your eyesight worse. That's a statement about vision. There may be vision scientists among you. We actually know how to test that statement. We can step into the lab and measure how good your vision is. Well, guess what? People that don't play a lot of action games, that don't actually spend a lot of time in front of screens, have normal, or what we call corrected to normal vision.
How many of you were told by your mum when you were watching television, you'll get square eyes?
Oh yeah. Not that.
I think it probably happened to most of us. So that's, again, difference between qualitative, somebody's idea or thought it can't be good for you watching a screen all the time, and quantitative, actually measuring, has there been any change in the number of people needing corrective vision aids or people going blind? What's really surprising, though, is this next bit.
That's okay. The issue is what happens with these guys that actually indulge into playing video games like 5 hours per week, 10 hours per week, 15 hours per week. By that statement, their vision should be really bad, right? guess what? Their vision is really, really good. It's better than those that don't play. And it's better in two different ways.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now, I'd question it though. Is the vision better in people who play games? Because people with better vision tend to play games more than people who can't see what the hell's happening on the screen.
That's a good point.
I would just raise that point with her and the people who measured it. So, yeah, well, my husband's got 20/20 vision. He wears glasses now for reading and driving because he's getting on, like we all are. But his vision is right, and he plays games. I don't. Maybe it's because I have to squint when I'm trying to see what's happening on the screen. Oh dear. But it is kind of interesting. So let's finish this little point, and then we can stop for today, and we can carry on next week if you're all happy with that.
The first way is that they're actually able to resolve small detail in the context of clutter. So that means being able to read the fine print on prescription rather than using magnifier glasses. You can actually do it with just your eyesight. The other way that they are better is actually being able to resolve different levels of gray. Imagine you're driving in the fog. That makes a difference between seeing the car in front of you and avoiding the accident or getting into an accident. So we're actually leveraging that work to develop games for patients with low vision and to have an impact on retraining their brain to see better. Clearly, when it comes to action video games, screen time doesn't make your eyesight worse.
There you go.
It sounds like superpowers.
It does, yeah. I want to play that game. I've got terrible eyesight, but I always have had. It's nothing to do with being sat in front of a computer. I had corrective surgery when I was 5, and it kind of helps, but it's not brilliant. I've always worn glasses, so if I could have played video games to improve my eyesight, I would have been well up for it.
Yeah. Never.
Oh, I like it, Eleanor. Oh, I see, says Eleanor. Very good, Eleanor. Was that a deliberate pun? Okay, and I can understand why.
No, it
might...
wasn't deliberate.
Okay, I thought it was. I thought it was very clever. But I can see, because when I'm playing Vikings, don't want to harp on about it, but when I'm playing Vikings, if I'm out on tile, Marco will know what I mean, yielding, I will try to keep an eye open for any tracks coming towards the tile I'm on, because it means an attack. Now, my husband's much better at spotting them than I am. He's much better at finding them amongst the clutter of all the other trails going everywhere, and he doesn't get hit as often as I do on tile. Maybe that's because he's been playing video games all his adult life. Poor me, I know. I'm not a gamer. What do you think, Tanicum?
I think that you are you are a gamer.
You think I'm a gamer? Yay! Oh dear. Only when I found this game, I have to say, I am addicted to it. They did say it can be addictive. I agree, but I try not to binge. I try to say, okay, that's it. An hour, play, put it down. Maybe pick the phone up, play on the phone a bit, but that's all, because it is addictive. I will agree to that. Is it bad for me?
Self-control.
Yeah, it is about self-control. Is it bad for me? It's only bad for me if I stop doing other things that I enjoy in order to do it. But I am finding it quite relaxing. It's a nice little stress breaker. Yeah? No, it is. It is.
You know, that makes me think that one day, it was during the weekend, and I was really bored, and oh my gosh, I want to play, something different. And I started with Mario, and then I just ended up killing deers and bears, and oh my gosh. When I was thinking, and my husband was like, "Are you okay?" No, let me kill them all. I was in the middle of the forest, and I was just trying to find all the
killing
wild
little bunnies.
animals there. yeah. And I was killing deers, and I was like, oh my god, this is terrible, when I finished it. But I spent my whole day. It was, I think, on Sunday. It was like, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 months ago. But it was crazy, if I think about it, because I couldn't control myself.
Well, to be honest, I'd rather people did that than actually go out and kill real bears. So I don't think there's a problem with it. And
Yeah.
you know the difference between a pixel bear and a real bear.
Yeah.
Okay, deers you wouldn't say tenicum, you'd say deer. Deer it's like sheep. Deer is singular and plural. So I was killing deer, but I thought you were saying
Ah, dear.
bears. Bears is
Bears.
plural.
Bears.
Yeah, bears in the woods. Yeah. What else did you kill that day, Monique?
Beers.
Not beers, no.
No,
Maybe you killed a few beers.
drink them. Just drink them. What else?
Bunnies? Little bunny rabbits?
No, 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 no. It was more like wild animals, and I
Okay.
think a tiger as well, or something like that. But it was really like, oh my god.
Did you feel
Anyway.
guilty afterwards?
Next day.
Yeah.
I know. I felt, because my husband, he told me, oh my god, you looked crazy over there, just standing and just killing, animals. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Now I feel okay, but I'm done with that game. I don't want to play that anymore. But anyway,
Well, I have to admit, when I started playing Vikings, and hubby told me that to collect some materials to make gear, you need to go out, you need to kill lynx and bears and dogs, and I can't do that. Do you know that I want that gear? I'm out there splatting them every week.
But bear is named man-eater, isn't it?
Yes, the bear's a man-eater, that's okay.
Oh,
But the
so-
lynx is cute.
If we don't kill it, it will kill us.
Exactly. But the lynx, what excuse do I
Lynx,
have
okay.
for the lynx? Yeah,
And
I want
serpents,
lynx
I
gear.
enjoy killing serpents.
Yes, endangered species. And the lion as well. I've been out bopping lions on the head with my spear or my club, whatever I've got in my hand at the time. But it's not a very graphic game. I don't know if I could have played that game if it was actually shooting, like you've got a gun or something. I don't know. It's interesting. I'd have to give it a go and see if I would. But I thought I couldn't when I started playing Vikings, and now I'm so desperate for the lynx gear. I'm actually hunting them down across the kingdom.
addictive, definitely.
Yes, it is. It is. Stay away, Monique. Stay away.
Yeah, that's why.
No, start playing.
Stop playing, Monique.
No way. The last time I played something, like on a regular basis was Heyday, I guess, a game like that, and it was really, I don't know. At the end, I feel like I'm trapped. I have to go there every single day, and I need to look after my farm and all the animals and all the crap there. And I was like, why? What is going on? I need to finish this game, and I deleted. So yeah.
That's very
No.
sensible. Very sensible. But you're right. I mean, I feel there's a slightly different aspect to the game that Marco and I are playing, and hubby, and Zom, and Saros at the weekend. It's not so much the gaming experience; it's the people. That's why I've recommended it. By the way, I mean, of course, yes, you meet some people you wish you hadn't met as well, but because you join a clan, and then everything you do is kind of becomes for the clan, and you realise you better log in and check your shield is up, because if your shield goes down, it affects the clan. I think that way Plarium, who developed the game, have done a very clever job in this particular game of making it not just addictive but social. It's the first, I mean, I've never recommended a game to English learners before. The reason I recommend it to English learners is one, you can join clans of your language. There's lots of different language clans out there: Spanish, French, German, Russian. But you can also interact with clans in the kingdom who speak English, or you can even join an English speaking clan if your English is good enough, and you are talking to people about the same thing. It gives you that connection, things to talk about. How do I get Lynx gear? What's the best thing to do for an onslaught? Da 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 da. Rather than just about the weather. So that's why I recommend it. But there,
so
there is...
Monique, join us.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
that's it.
No.
Come over
You
to
don't
the
want
dark
to see
side.
that.
Your husband would come home and you say, "What are you doing?" "I'm
Yeah.
killing Vikings. The enemy is attacking."
Yeah.
Help me help you. Yeah, I didn't play Dota. No, I didn't play Dota. I've heard of it. Yeah, I haven't played it ever. But yes, I know of it, and I know a lot of people still are extremely addicted to it. And I think anything is addictive. Anything can be addictive. It's about self-control, like you said, Monique. It's about realizing if you do have a problem, just stop.
My mother realized that, a long time ago, and that's what she, when I was a child, I remember that we had Nintendo and all that stuff, and I started just because I really wanted to win, and I couldn't just stop. It's just like that, and I remember that I had some problems with my nose because I was bleeding too much, during I don't know, some days, or I don't know, weeks, whatever. When she took me to the doctor, and the doctor said, "Is she under stress lately?" Or something. Is she playing games? Just I'm asking you. And can you just monitor your daughter? And my mother, she looked at me and, oh my gosh, no, this is it. No more Nintendo, no more. Okay.
And the
Because I was
doctor didn't
thinking
say, "Is she picking her nose?"
no, and I wasn't. No.
Sorry.
That was good, but no. No.
Okay, well, I've
Wasn't the
never heard of
reason.
it causing a nosebleed, but I guess if you really do get that
Yeah.
stressed out by it, I mean, I think that's why I like Vikings. There's no, okay, if you're going to go on the attack, you do have bursts of little bits of energy, but most of the time it's okay. I'll build that, click, go away, make a cup of tea, come back 9 hours. In fact, I've got one build on at the moment that's going to take 9 weeks. So it's not that kind of sort of clicking that I
Yeah.
couldn't play a game like that. It would drive me nuts. It'd be so boring. That I just like to see the development of it and how far I can go, and if I can ever become a warlord. Yay! We will. I think Marco will be a warlord way before I am.
No,
Anyway.
no way, you will be the chief.
I don't want to be a chief. Have you seen what they have to put up with? No way. Okay, so we will stop there, and if you're okay with it, we'll carry on next week. I can give you the link to the actual video if you want to watch it in your own time as well, but we'll watch it together because I think it raises some very interesting points, and she does it quite well as well. She's an interesting lady. She's got some interesting viewpoints, and she's quite funny too. Okay. Super. Then I'll see you next time. Take care, and thanks for coming. Thanks for joining me. All right. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Hi, welcome to Talk to the Hand. It's Lynn here from the Learn English Network. Does what it says on the label. And this is Talk to the Hand session where we talk about lots of different things really. But it's a video sharing session today, guys. So we're going to be using My Circle TV. I'll give you the link in a moment. First, I want to put Nina on the spot because today we're going to link a little bit in with what we've just been talking about in Kitely, but of course Eleanor and Marco Tenicum weren't in Kitely today. So Nina, can you tell them what we were discussing? Ooh, that's so mean of me, I know.
We're discussing something about the brain and its reaction. Yeah,
It was
About
the
it.
brain.
the brain.
Pinky and the Brain, 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 brain. My favourite cartoon. But we talked about, at the end, we talked about how alcohol can affect the brain, and we will be reading about that next week. But I thought for today I found a very interesting little TED Talk, and I love TED Talks because it means I can actually share the sound and share the video without getting into trouble. Which is always nice. But this isn't about how your brain reacts to alcohol, it's how your brain reacts, and Tenicum, you'll like this one, how your brain reacts to video games. So what sort of things do you think might crop up, how your brain reacts when you're playing video games?
You exercise your reaction speed, I think, reflex.
Oh, good. Yeah, reflexes, reactions, speed. Yeah. Any other thoughts?
We can have addictive effect.
Yeah,
Good or
addiction.
no?
Yeah.
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 But I have heard that criticism of video games is exaggerated, and in fact, children it's beneficial to children. But I'm not a fan of them. I really have no opinion, but it may be true. Why not?
Okay.
Perhaps, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of research going into this because, of course, it's impacting on our lives more and more. Computers are being used in more and more ways, and games are being.
Exactly.
If you might have heard of gamification, the education industry is very interested in. We were talking about how.
Strategy.
Ah,
But
shiny! Interesting! You bought a Nintendo, and Nintendo is a company, so capitalized. A Nintendo Switch. Have you played anything on it? Have you bought any games for it?
No, because it's new, so the software is not so. It only has how to say
There's limited software, yeah.
yes, and it's very hard to buy a Switch. You know that?
I didn't know. I haven't actually. I had a Nintendo Wii, but I gave that to my niece because she's got little ones now, and she also wanted to get fit after having a baby, so I gave it to her because it had a fitness board and everything. And I go to the gym now because I'm more motivated to go to the gym than to bounce up and down on a fitness board in my living room, I decided. So I gave it away, and so I have got an Xbox somewhere, Xbox 360. I don't really use that either, but I'm not a gamer, believe it or not. Marco might not agree with me because he knows how late I was online last night playing, but I'm not a gamer. I'm not. Hubby is. He's got a PS4. Ooh, sexy beast. But yes, there are different kinds of video games out there. That's the thing. There are different kinds of computer games out there. They're not all the same. And I think there's one for everybody. And I think personally, I don't know. I know, Eleanor, you said you're not really that interested in them, but I think they can be used very effectively. And I think we're going to be more affected by them with immersive technology, where we've got this augmented reality. Yeah.
I have listened to quite a lot of talks about it in Second Life during SL conferences. So of course I do agree. It just not exactly my generation. I would see just a little bit.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm surprised to how much I enjoy the game I'm playing at the moment. Don't know how long it will last, but at the moment I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Augmented reality might mean that eventually Marco and I will be fighting side by side as clan brothers in a virtual space. But I think if it ever gets that real, I'll probably not want to do the fighting. There's one thing about clicking a button and killing things. There's another thing about actually using your muscles and actually seeing something die in front of you, even if it's not real. I don't know if I'd be comfortable with that. Anyway, we're going to watch this video. If I can share the link with you. Learning when you're having fun is easier, so they're looking at how to gamify, if you like, learning so that it's more fun rather than, sorry to say this, Eleanor, rather than the dusty old books that I know you enjoy. But not all kids do. What about you, Shiny? Any thoughts on brains and video games?
But I think video games help children to concentrate.
Okay, concentration. Yeah. I mean, certainly when you watch them playing, they're really in there, aren't they? They have immersed themselves completely into the game sometimes. Very true. Good one. What about you, Marco?
Is nervousness belongs to it? Does nervousness belong to it?
Are you worried about your shield?
Yeah, if someone ruins my troops or the other, I don't feel happy with it. Yes, and maybe sometimes
Fear.
disappoint. No, not fear, but disappoint and think about revenge.
Yeah, disappointment. Basically emotions.
And here is like how to revenge, like to revenge myself.